Cavalry relics here today at the Southern Museum of Civil War and Locomotive History in Kennesaw, Georgia. This is the home of the general from the Great Locomotive Chase. So, got a few things outside here, box car, but we're gonna go check it out, so stand by. Here we are at one of the exhibits. Railroads go to war. Got a lot of parts. Just some of the tracks, and tells you about the different tracks, even the U-shaped track. U-shaped track was one of the first type used to call it a U-shape because the inside was hollow. To save on cost in manufacturing. Here's a nice display of revolvers and pistols. Nice cartridge box. So the cartridge box was from Massachusetts. Here's some of the various revolvers. This one's very interesting to me. It's the Locomotive revolver. And was used by Jeb Stuart. Had a shotgun barrel at the bottom, so definitely something pretty cool. Here's some of the long arms of rifles used during the Civil War. I have the 1816 musket, the 1842 musket, the 1853 Enfield, used a lot by the Confederacy, the 1855 rifle musket, and the 1861 Springfield, which was the common Union, and then a Fayetteville rifle. So here's a display of a soldier's life. See some of the items they had in camp. The chair, Bible, book, sewing kits, cards, dice, and shaving kit. Move on over here to guarding the rails. Replica uniform of a Confederate soldier.
Between 1850 and 1860, 22,000 miles.
So pretty cool. Display of the different carbines that were used mostly by cavalry units. The Gallagher carbine, the Sharps, and the Spencer carbine. Spencer used a metallic cartridge, which was very cool for the time. The cavalry display. It's a Confederate saddle. Cavalry boots, a sword belt ring. The caltrop back in the back's hard to see, but a 1840 model saber and a Hall carbine that was used by the Confederates. Oh, pretty cool. Here's a Union First Lieutenant's 9-button frock coat. It's kind of hard to see, but it's very cool to see an actual original uniform from the Civil War. And here is a lady's dress from the time period of the Civil War. Something interesting here on we're at Atlanta Falls from Sherman's March. If you guys can see the piece of rail that's bent, where they heated them up and bent them against the trees, the Sherman neckties. Here's a very, very interesting display. This is the flag of the 65th Georgia. It's their battle flag. Definitely history there, if that flag could talk. Since this is the Museum of Rail and Civil War, a very interesting pattern shop where they made the various gears, wheels, and things for the railway. Some of the patterns. Yeah. Definitely cool. They're talking about the foundry.
The steel can be refined while it cooks in the furnace by adding.
They made the parts for the rails and the cars. There's a display from soldiers from when they had reunions, Confederate and U.S. It's the Grand Army of the Republic. And they had their grave markers, their buttons, and their various reunion medals that were given out at the reunions. There's a statue of Robert E. Lee and Hood. Definitely pretty cool. Here's the building of a locomotive with the frame. Here's the body. All the pieces. For you guys who are familiar with some of the shorts that I do, the Great Locomotive Chase, where the general was stolen here in Kennesaw, also known as Big Shanty, by Union spies and then captured in Ringgold, Georgia when it was chased down by the Texan. But these are the participants, and these were some of the first recipients of the Medal of Honor. Jacob Parrott from Ohio was the very first recipient of the Medal of Honor. And here is the original General Locomotive. It's been restored, but it is the original from the Great Locomotive Chase. Here's some interesting World War II history that they have here. This is a train car that France gave the United States. They gave each state in the United States a train car as their appreciation for their efforts during the war. And this is the train car that they gave Georgia, and it is here on display. Aside from that, they also have some various French awards and just different information on those and souvenirs. So something pretty cool that this was one of the initial train cars that they gave, and here it is on display.